Good morning. Wasn't sure if I needed to hit Jim's face harder. I call the December 9th, 2025 meeting of the DuPage County Board to order. I invite everyone to stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Vice Chair Childress, will you lead us in the pledge? I now invite Pastor Larry Diffidich from Little Home Church by the Wayside in Wayne to lead us in the invocation.
Let's pause for just a moment, take a few deep breaths. From many traditions and philosophies, we share a common hope that our work here today may be guided by wisdom, compassion, and a deep sense of responsibility to all those we serve. We give thanks for DuPage County, its cities, its towns, its neighbors and families, and the diversity of people who call this place home. May that diversity be a source of strength as we listen to one another and work for the common good. May this board be guided by integrity in decision-making, respect in dialogue, and courage in leadership. May we remain mindful of those whose voices are often unheard and attentive to the impact of our choices on present and future generations. With humility and purpose, let us begin our work together. May this be so. Amen.
Okay, Mr. Deputy Clerk, please take the roll.
Member Cahill. Here. Member Childress. Here. Member Covert.
Here.
Member Desart. Here. Member Eckhoff. Here. Member Evans. Here. Member Galassi. Here. Member Garcia. Here. Member Heather. Here. Member Honig. Here. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Here. Member Martinez. Here. Member Ozog. Here. Member Schwarzy. Here. Member Tornatori. Here. Member Yu.
Here.
And Member Zay.
Okay, I would like to invite Member Zay, Sarah Hunn, Member Heather, Member Evans, Member Covert, Tom Ricker, and Connie Schmidt to the podium. It's a party this morning. Hello. Hi. Okay, today we celebrate a project that demonstrates what we do best. We bring the right people to the table, we develop a plan, and we execute it to benefit our residents. Member Evans alerted us that the DuPage Monarch Project wanted to present DuPage County with the Pollinator Protector of the Year Award for developing a GIS mapping program that helps to identify locations of existing pollinator habitats. As we know, native bees and other pollinators are important to the growth and survival of both wild and cultivated plants, and they help to ensure a healthy ecosystem for the food supply. Connie Schmidt, representing the local Sierra Club and the DuPage Monarch Project, is here to present the award to the chairs and staff representing stormwater, environmental, and technology committees. Connie, please tell us more.
Well, Director Conroy gave you most of the information I was going to share, and I appreciate that. But I do want to tell you, so the DuPage Monarch Project represents we are a coalition of the four big environmental groups in DuPage County. It is the Conservation Foundation, the Forest Preserve District of DuPage, the River Prairie Group of the Sierra Club, as well as Wild Ones. So all together we make up a board and we do 3 annual awards. And our director, our coordinator, Lonnie Morris, chose this amazing program that the county is doing. And the piece that hasn't been mentioned is this is data-driven. This is helping to make decisions on where further habitats are needed, on where the habitat, and once we know where we have great habitats, we know where our gaps are for migration and for the pollinators, both the bees, the native bees, and the butterflies and hummingbirds and bats and all kinds of creatures that are vital to the biodiversity of our planet, both for the species of plants that we eat and those that we enjoy on our roadsides and in our gardens. So I want to thank the county, and I want to thank Lucy Chang Evans for bringing this project to us. It puts DuPage County at the forefront of conservation efforts. I really think there are not other programs like this at a lot of counties, in a lot of states, in a lot of regions. So this puts DuPage on the map, as well as a lot of habitats. Thank you. Yeah. Do you mind? No, I made it.
Okay, on the matter of public comment, it looks like we don't have any public comment today. If the board has received public comment via our online portal, per board policy, those comments were provided to members yesterday so they could be reviewed. Comments submitted electronically will be included in the minutes of this meeting. Okay, on the matter of public comment, according to our county board rules, members of, oh, we're skipping that, sorry. We're going to go right to Mayor Marcucci, Tom Marcucci, to do the PACE representative update.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. I haven't been mayor for a long time. They don't call me that very often, but it sticks with you after all. So I'm very glad and pleased to be here to present some of the highlights of the PACE budget. It's about a 180-page document this year. It's all changed from 2 months ago. So I got to tell you, I don't have the long-term, deep knowledge that I have usually when I'm at this podium. If I had been here when, right behind Wes Becton, who was here just a couple of months ago, you would have heard a very doom and gloom budget. We were told by the RTA that we had to reduce our budget, which meant we had to do service cuts, buses off the street, drivers being laid off, staff in the building being laid off, that we had to limit our ADA trips because of just lack of availability and lack of budget, that our RAP and TAP trips, which are when you call, it's a call-in ride system, mostly used, not exclusively used, but often used by ADA folks, that we had to limit those, and we did limit those. We had a public hearing in this building. I chaired it, and we did two things at that meeting. We, at the request of the RTA, raised the fare to $3.25 and limited the number of trips. Now, at that hearing, and you may have had, you have access to the documentation, no one complained about the increase in fare, which I got to tell you, quite frankly, our rates are very reasonable and haven't gone up at all in a long time. But the limiting of those RAP and TAP trips brought out somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 people, which is relatively a lot, and it was the same throughout the other county hearings. It's not enough. So at this point, I can tell you that we've appealed that decision to the RTA. We've made it, myself and several other members of the PACE board have advocated for an increase. It had some big number on it, like 128 or 132 ride limits a month before, which no one was getting to and was unnecessary. That was a cut and paste out of some document years ago. So what's the right number? It might be 40, it might be 50, it might be 55. Enough to get people to and from work, and then have some other rides so they can shop and get to the doctor and other things that they need to do in their life. So, but I went down the ADA rabbit hole just now rather quickly. So let me get a little bit back on stream. As I said, if I was here 6 weeks ago, it would be all doom and gloom with a mandated 10% fare increase, multiple service cuts, reduced ADA, and layoffs of staff throughout our system. Today, because Senate Bill 2111 has passed, and by the way, not yet signed by the governor, at least not as of this morning, but I understand he is going to sign it, and all the service boards are conducting themselves as if he's going to sign it, because he has said he's going to sign it. We are now in a situation that I always like to start these with: no service cuts and no fare increases. We went from a mandated 10% fare increase 6 weeks ago to we are not allowed to raise the fares until at least after January 1st, 2027, which we'll just have to wait and see how that develops over time. I don't know that that's going to happen. By the way, it would be remiss if I didn't point out that our DuPage County chair was active in advocating for this change. Not only did she pay attention to it and try to keep it on her radar, I know, because I was hearing, that she was actively advocating for us in Springfield, and this is, I think, kind of important and kind of neat, amongst other Collier County chairs. She was making the calls and making sure that everybody was alert to it. Early on, a year ago, 14 months ago, people didn't see this on their radar yet. They did now. And I want to thank the chair for your involvement in that. We bumped into each other at a meeting now, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and she just looked at me and she said, I can't get off the phone. It's all day long, every day. So that's very important. So we've had support, and we had support from you as well. I know many of you wrote letters, talked to your state legislators, talked to people to make sure that 2111 was going to pass. And we now have a stable, dedicated source of funding that I believe will carry the 6-county transportation system deep into the future. This is not a one-time fix-all. It's not a Band-Aid. This is a sea change in how we're going to be funding public transportation coming into the future. This legislation will actually take effect June of next year. So we don't know for sure. Now let's talk about the increased revenue streams. Okay, so we all heard, like by way of example, the charges are going up on the tollway. We don't know how fast that's going to get implemented. Once it gets implemented, how fast that money is going to end up in the tollway's coffers, and then the state coffers, and then get transferred to the RTA. So we don't know. This is kind of a ramp-up situation now over the next year to 18 months. So if you saw something that you think is going to improve service in your community or in your town, or that route that comes down your street, that's going to take a while to come online. But I think within 18 months at the outside, it will all be there. On the budget, we have some numbers that are of some interest. The suburban budget is going to be, this is the buses that we see on the street, are going to be $372 million in the coming year. 6 weeks ago, it was going to be $348. The ADA budget is going to be $361 million, up from $296. That's a $65 million increase. That's going to provide a lot of service, and we're very pleased about that. The combined numbers are 733 now versus 644 6 weeks ago. So that's very, very important. On the capital side, we're projected to have a budget slightly over $76 million. What do we do with that? I always give you this list. We're going to buy 9 all-electric full-size buses. We're going to buy 13 hybrid buses, and some of these are starting to roll in already. These are like a Prius. It's got an engine on it, but it also has a battery that helps run it. I personally am of the belief that that's going to be more serviceable for us than full electric buses in the long haul. But the technology is improving all the time. If you're an electric car guy or person, you know that every time you go to the dealership, the range of that electric car is greater than it was last year. And that's happening in the buses as well. Now, on this subject, and I was kind of sorry that the Sierra Club folks left because I wanted to brag about this, We are going all electric. That's our intent by 2040. That's the good news. The bad news is we don't know if we're going to get the money. These buses are in the bus, and the electricity to get to the bus in capital, not operating, is now well over $2 million. When we passed our resolution 3 years ago, it was about $800,000. That's a lot of money. When you have 650 buses, that's a lot of money. So the federal government is going to have to be involved in this, and as we know, there's some questions about their support of electric vehicles and electric buses. So we'll have to wait and see. Worse than that, virtually every bus company in the country decided to go all electric in a one-year period about 2 years ago. There's not the capacity to build those buses. We go to I don't go, but our executive director goes, our chairman goes, and they go to the convention where they sell these buses, and they can't find people to take their orders, or you start to have the conversation, they go, we don't know. We'll let you know. But we've been able to get some orders in, and we're starting to get some buses in. We're making significant infrastructure changes to the garages to handle an electric bus. In a very, very round number, and this is conservative, it's $1 million a parking spot to bring electricity into that garage and then distribute it out to the different parking spots and then do that safely. So that's a huge part of our capital program going forward, and we'll be there for a number of years. We're going to use the increased dollars to move forward with our PACE revision program. You may remember me talking about that last year or seen it in our documentation. That's basic. This is a bit of an overstatement, but it's basically like we're starting with a clean slate, as if we had no bus route system in place right now. What do we need? Where should it go? So the whole point is to bring our fixed bus route system into the current and into the future, as opposed to what was done in 1983 when PACE was created, because travel patterns have changed, job patterns have changed, population has increased tremendously in the 6-county collars as opposed to the city. So revision is our attempt to do that. I think I mentioned last year that our first thing out of our consultant's mouth was we got to decide whether it's all about putting the most people in seats, which I've advocated over the years, or giving service wherever it has to go and wherever people need it. Those are not the same things, and it's a complex situation. One of the things that's going to relieve that is that the new legislation has reduced dramatically our demand of our recovery ratio, down from 25% to a number that keeps vibrating, but I hear in the legislation it says 13.6%. Well, what does that mean? And how does that affect us here in DuPage County? That means that we can run buses into areas that are going to have less ridership. Mr. Zay has been asking for buses in his region since I met him, 26 years. We're finally I believe this is, no promises, but I believe that I've already talked to our staff about it and our executive director. Does this mean we're going to be able to give more services in more places? And the answer is yes. Mr. Zay, as I discussed this with him earlier today, immediately said, well, I hope you buy smaller buses. And I think that's coming. I mean, that just makes sense, right? If it's going to be lower, you know, the ghost, as I said earlier to Mr. Zay, the ghost of Pate Phillips, every time I saw the man, he told me we were running empty buses. And what were we going to do about it? It looks empty, but even if there's only 1 or 2 people on that bus, those people wouldn't have a job without that bus. That's my assumption. So that's why we have to do it that way and run those buses. So the change in the recovery ratio over time, not this week, but over time, I think is going to change the route system in DuPage County dramatically and give more. It's not going to be consultant version number A, more people on more buses, but it will be, and I'm advocating for in that equation and that slide over here, which is more service to more areas that don't have it. So speaking of areas that don't have it, we have that situation at the Hinsdale Lake Terrace neighborhood. The county has taken a big lead on this. You should know PACE is kind of, we gave you access to our systems, our reservation systems and money collection and all that, but DuPage County is paying the freight on that right now. And that's something that I think in the new budget we'll be able to address. More important than addressing the budgetary issue is addressing the service issue, because right now it's basically kind of a call-in ride. People want a fixed bus route. They want to know that that bus is going to come by at 8:15 in the morning and then at 9 and then at 9:45, et cetera. And we got to look at where that bus is going to go. And is it going to lean to the east of Route 83, that route, or to the west of Route 83? There's already a route up and down Cass Avenue, And so should it hook into that bus? So it's complicated. There's things, but we're looking at all of that kind of stuff. We anticipate an increase of the bus on shoulder programs that we're doing right now, and we're looking at one that's going to increase the bus on shoulder from 88 to 290, but up to the airport. Is not right now. Those bus on shoulders just go to downtown, and we know that there's folks here in DuPage County and western DuPage County that would like that bus to get them to the airport, or maybe into the L system on the Eisenhower at First Avenue. So that's all being considered, and we've got that on the radar of the folks who are redesigning the next iteration of the Eisenhower Expressway, what I still call the Eisenhower Expressway, to see if that's going to be able to work in or not. We'll have to wait and see. Along that line, that bus system, the bus on shoulder thing is tremendously successful. It overruns all our projections every year of how many people are going to ride it. We completed the job of expanding the park and ride in Burr Ridge. And that's mostly DuPage County residents that are taking that bus. And that goes downtown. Recall that there's two different, the route system one goes down into the loop and the other one goes into the medical district. They're kind of along Ashland Avenue. So those are some of those high points. We're also looking at bringing a pulse. This is the last thing I'll talk about, which I think is kind of exciting for the future, is a pulse route. Now, we don't have any pulse routes, bus rapid transit routes in DuPage County today. There's one operating, one getting underway. What was the first one? Was on Milwaukee Avenue in the northwest suburbs. You see them in downtown Chicago. If you're driving around in the loop, you see those big bus stops with the canopies over them. You go, what is that? What is that doing there? That's a bus rapid transit stop. It's an elevated lift so that you step onto the bus, not up to the bus. The buses have schedules kind of like, you know what an express train is? A pulse bus is an express bus. All right? So it gets from point A to B to C to Z quicker than a regular route. They're heated. They have electronic signage that says when the next bus is coming and any other thing that's going on. And your committee, some of you folks, have been working with our folks to help design this system. It's going to come out on Cermak Road. Now, because I'm kind of a jerk about this, I had to argue with Pace for weeks about that this cannot be, there is no Cermak Road in DuPage County. It's 22nd Street. I know it's a fine point, but, you know, to confuse people, if you're coming south on the tollway, the exit sign says Cermak Road. It doesn't say 22nd Street. I'm the kind of person that bothers all the time. So we've got that changed. It takes a while to get these buses up and running. Why? Why don't we just buy the bus and put it on the street? We got to build that platform. To build that platform, we got to buy that space. To buy that space, we have to negotiate with the property owner and sometimes threaten condemnation, which we don't want to do and we've never done. But it's a complicated issue to just get it. It's not just a matter of putting another bus out on the street. So I think those are the high points. I try to keep this under, I went 33 minutes 3 years ago and I was told to cut it down. So I think that kind of gives you the flavor of it. And if you have any questions, I would be glad to answer them. Anyone?
Member Evans? Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mayor Marcucci. You didn't mention the Van Gogh program. Can you just talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's a suburban
Right,
issue.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing it up. It's like I said, there's a lot in here, and it's tough to get it in the time allotted. Van Gogh, we've had a van program for many years. People, employers would move their factories from the city of Chicago to the suburbs, and we were glad to have them, right? Drove our economic engine here. But the employees got left behind in the city. So the van program was, if you can get 5 or 6 or even 4 employees together, we'll give one of them a van. And then they can meet at that person's house in the old neighborhood, get on the van and drive out to the industrial park in Elk Grove Village or Elmhurst or wherever it happens to be. Van Gogh is the opposite of that, because it turns out that there are people that come out on Metra from the city, and every day they go to the same stop, the same transit hub in, let's say, Naperville or Itasca. And how do they get that last mile, or worse yet, that last 5 or 6 miles? And if they can get people in their office or their factory to get together, we can put a Van Go, which is basically one of these van programs, but we put the van at the train station. So they come out on the train and get off the train, and their car is waiting for them, and do a digital thing to get the car started, get in the car, get it started, and they go to work. This costs those folks a set amount of money, which depends on how long it's going to be, how many people are in the car, et cetera. I don't know what the current number is, but $5 a day. Yeah. Okay, so do that math. $5 a day. I was going to say something like $120. I don't know how close that is a month, but it solves that transportation problem. And the person in the first way, the person who had the van at home overnight got to use it for X number of miles per month or per week, and we bought the vehicle. We're going to buy this vehicle, but in the evening, I believe it's got to stay at the train station. Yes, it does. And then you'll have to sign up for it so that people aren't arguing over who gets the van this morning. But it's very important. And a new one is going into Naperville. It's planned, and it's not there yet, I don't think, but it's going in very, very quickly. So, yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you,
That's it.
Tom. Yeah.
Okay.
Happy holidays to you.
Well, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to all of you. Thank you very much. And I think it's an exciting time for transportation in northeastern Illinois. This is a little side note, I'll tell you. Somebody said to me, it's about time the state is funding transportation like other states do, which makes some sense. But the state isn't funding it. The state is allowing us to fund it ourselves. And that's fine, because Illinois, there's downstate and rural areas. So that had to be particular and peculiar to Illinois. It works. And so I thank all the folks in Springfield, the governor and chair, for working on it to make it happen. So thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, it was quite a journey. There was a lot of give and take. I will share with you that one of the things that we wanted, we did not get. Sometimes you have to compromise for the greater good, but we will continue the fight for the collars and DuPage in particular to get a fair say in terms of how money is spent. So that's another story for another day. Okay, on today's agenda, you will see the resolution I spoke about at our last meeting. December 26th falls on Friday this year. I hope you will support my request to amend our 2025 holiday calendar to make the 26th a holiday for our DuPage County employees. Mr. Grinch in the back row, you good with that? Okay, good. To further demonstrate our thanks for our outstanding staff, I invite all employees to our annual employee breakfast right here in the 421 building cafeteria tomorrow morning, Wednesday, December 10th, beginning at 7 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. Board members are invited to help serve our employees at this year's event. And if you don't have a fancy apron, like Member Zay does, the grid, yes, it's a grid, yes. Don't worry, our dining service experts have plenty of aprons for all of us. As this is our last meeting of the calendar year, allow me to once again thank our employees who work over the holidays. We see and appreciate you. Finally, to our residents, please accept my wishes for a Merry Christmas, a joyful holiday season, and a safe and happy New Year. Now we'll move on to the consent agenda. I seek a motion to approve the consent agenda items. Okay, okay, 20, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Public participation. There was none, I'm sorry. Did you want to invite somebody, Mary? Because right now it's empty. Okay, all right, just checking. Okay, 260044, DuPage County Board, regular meeting minutes, Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. 252891, 1121, 2025 pay list. 252892, 1121, 2025 auto debit pay list. 252912, 1125, 2025 pay list. 262912, 2025 pay list. 252890, DuPage County Treasurer's Monthly Report of Investments and Deposits, October 2025. 2617, County Clerk's Monthly Receipts and Disbursements Report, November 2025. 2621, change orders to various contracts as specified in the attached packet. All in favor? Okay, we'll move on to County Board and Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on to CBR 126 for the appointment of Nancy Chin for the Ethics Commission.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Martinez, Member Ozog, Member Schwarzy, Member Tornatori, Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Zay, and Member Cahill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move CBR 226 to the appointment of E.F. Todd Benson to the Ethics Commission.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on CBR 226, the appointment of Todd Donner to the Ethics Commission.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on CBR 426, the appointment of Andrew Honig to the Emergency Telephone Systems Board.
Did we? Okay. Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on CBR 526, the appointment of Kyle Wolber to the Emergency Telephone System Board.
Leave is granted. Member Childress. Vice Chair Childress.
I'd like to move on 226, the appointment of Daniel McCarthy to the Emergency Telephone Board.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'd like to move on 2645, County Board to attend the NACO Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. from February 2026 to February 23, 2026. Expenses to include transportation, lodging, miscellaneous expenses, and per diem for approximately $22,762.
Okay. Leave is granted. Thank you, Vice Chair Childress. Okay. Move on to Finance and Member Deacon Garcia.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. For my committee update, I just wanted to make a notation that there were some items from the Clerk's Department. There were some budget transfers that had been requested by the Finance Committee to be done in the last 2 meetings at least, and they were completed and approved in the last Finance meeting. As of this date, no further request for funding has been received from the Clerk's office. So moving on, I make a motion to approve FIR 020525, acceptance and appropriation of the DuPage Care Center Foundation Music Therapy Grant, Program Year 26. This is in the amount of $63,486 for the DuPage Care Center.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Garcia,
Aye.
Member Heather, Member Honig, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Martinez, Member Ozog, Member Schwarzy, Member Tornatori, Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Zay, Member Cahill, Member Childress,
Yes.
Member Covert, Member Desart, Member Eckhoff, Member Evans, and Member Galassi.
Okay. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 020625, acceptance and appropriation of the DuPage Care Center Foundation Coordinator Grant Program Year 26. This is in the amount of $32,500 for the DuPage Care Center.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 020725, acceptance and appropriation of the DuPage Care Center Foundation Recreation Therapy Grant Program Year 26. This is in the amount of $30,083 for the DuPage Care Center.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 020825, acceptance of an extension of time for the DuPage Care Center Foundation Music Therapy Grant Program Year 25 to extend through January 31st, 2026 for the DuPage Care Center.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 000126, acceptance of an extension of time for the DuPage Care Center Foundation Program Grant Coordinator Foundation Coordinator Grant to extend through December 31st, 2025.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 000226, acceptance of an extension of time for the DuPage Care Center Foundation Recreation Therapy Grant for Program Year 25 to extend through February 28, 2026 for the DuPage Care Center.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 000326, approval of funds for the DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau for the Hotel Transportation Grant Program in the amount of $75,000 from ARPA interest.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 000426, budget transfers 12/9/2025 for various companies and accounting units.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 000626, additional appropriation for the County Automation Fund for the accounting unit 2930 in the amount of $270,000 for fiscal year 2025.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 000726, additional appropriation for the County Automation Fund. This is for the accounting unit 2930 in the amount of $120,000 for the fiscal year 2026.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
And I make a motion to approve FIR 000826, revision to FIR 012524 for the 2025 holiday schedule for human resources.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIP 003325, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Alliant Insurance Services, Inc. to secure DuPage Care Center liability insurance for finance tort liability for the period of January 1, 2026 to January 1, 2027, for a contract total amount not to exceed $278,296.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Garcia. Okay, Animal Services and Member Kajewski.
Thank you. Just a couple of committee updates. As you know, we've recently seen an influx of animals being surrendered at the county due to the fact of lacking the pet food for their animals because they don't have enough money for their own food and affording their apartments, etc. And then in conversations in District 3 with our food pantries, we found out that they were also experiencing the need for pet food. So we started, mentioned last week, we did the food drive on Saturday at 3 communities, but we, Carrie Galassi, the Health and Human Service rep from District 3, we decided to do pet food, real food, and also financial donations. So our staff did a good job of putting out the flyers for the marketing, and we elicited in Hinsdale, with Hinsdale Family Center, we elicited the village president, former county board member Greg Hart. They had that pushed out on their social media at the village. In Westmont, we used the mayor, Steve Nero. We pushed that out in Westmont, and then Downers Grove, the Downers Grove Township Assessor did the one in Fish. So I know we started in Hinsdale in the morning. Carrie sent a text message the night before with Village President Hart and myself saying, I won't be there till 10 o'clock because I talked with Pet Supplies and they told me to stop by at 10 in the morning to pick up some pet food and make sure you bring the largest SUV you can find. And they filled the back of course, nice. Carrie's car with food. So we went to Hinsdale. And I know Member Evans and Member Galassi have a lot of Hinsdale Central students that come and shadow. But the Hinsdale Family Shelter has a student advisory board. And actually the 2 presidents, Neil and Samantha, were there. And they actually run the Anna Jean's food pantry, one inside, one outside. But they also did Hinsdale Central on Thursday leading up to Saturday. They did their own food drive through the National Honor Society, and they got service credit. So Hinsdale Family Services showed up with their van. Not only did they fill that van up, they had to bring 3 more SUVs over, and the students raised over 5,000 pounds of food in Hinsdale to drop that off. So that was, very, very good for the students, etc. From there, we moved on to Downers Grove Fish Food Pantry, and there, another former board member, Patty Gustin, who also sits on the DuPage Animal Friends, she was there. In Downers Grove, they had the YMCA, sending it out. They were doing a collection. Also, the Rotary Club. But there was some competition among those elected officials to try to make sure each one could do better than the other. So they really pushed out the media, and the QR codes that our staff put together in each town went directly to those the pantries, and it had their top 10 list of wish items plus financial donations. So Friday night, the Downers Grove people were calling, hey, do you know how much money Fish Food Pantry's got? Well, they can't tell where it came from, but when I talked to the treasurer Friday night, that week alone they received $31,000 just for the Downers Grove Fish Food Pantry. Last stop, we went over to then Westmont, the People's Resource Center. They too had a student advisory board, and they, mostly Westmont high school kids, they were decorating the van at the shelter because they were getting ready for the Westmont Holiday Parade, followed by the tree lighting with the mayor. As soon as we pulled in, Carrie had a second car, the trunk filled with food from Pet Supplies, and I think one of Carrie's friends, the couple's daughter, had worked at volunteering at a pet shelter. They had just come from their collection with the whole back of the van filled with dog food, etc. So it was over thousands of pounds of dog food plus real food, and then who knows the financial contributions that are still coming in. But in Hinsdale, the executive director, Wendy, was raving to Carrie and I, just thanking this county board tremendously for that refrigerator truck. I know Carrie took the lead on getting that for them, but it's just been a game changer for them with their deals with Costco way up by Oak Brook to be able to get the produce and frozen items and be able to go to Anna Jean, which I know most of the board members or all the board members are really committed to that community down there. So that's just been a game changer for them. And then in Downers Grove with fish, they were, showing Carrie and I, it's like, that's the van right there that you were able to provide at the county. So they really like what the county has done in helping these food pantries. And we did get a lot of feedback about, hey, thank you for including the animals. But that was one thing that all three executive directors, and I think Carrie's going to be starting to meet with them regularly as part of our District 3 Health and Human Services, but they just, the people who are coming and donating the food to the pantries don't realize there's a lot of demand for the pet food too. So I think that now where some of these food pantries have been dealing with Costco or Amazon or Jewel getting food, I think Carrie started now with Pet Plus, reaching out to the pet stores who actually can help also and help do that. And I know the village participated a lot with our elected officials, in collaboration. So it was a great, successful event. So again, I want to thank the county board for all we do for these food pantries because there's definitely a need, and also for pet food. Second thing is, tomorrow, some of you I know have been maybe invited or maybe going to the Arboretum. DuPage is having their holiday event there. They started this year at the Luminary Show. Every Wednesday in December is Dog Days, so you can bring your dog out to the Arboretum. They has to get a separate ticket also, I guess. But if any of you are going to the holiday event for Choose DuPage, our animal services staff will be there passing out as people come in with their dogs puppuccinos and information about what we do here at the county. And Chairman Schillerstrom, who used to be the chair here, is the president of the Morton Arboretum, would like to collaborate more with us in animal services in the summertime to help promote the Arboretum and with dog friendly. And then Tuesday, this last week was Giving Tuesday. The DuPage Foundation put a goal of $20,000. They far exceeded that. They raised over $26,000, and there's still money coming in. So I want to thank the foundation for the Giving Tuesday and all the people in DuPage that contributed. Last, they sold out all the calendars. They rebought more of them, so there's more calendars in if you want to get your calendars. All the dogs and cats here were bid on at the auction, and so people bought their favorite month to put their favorite pet on there. So we have plenty more. They're $20, but this first batch went very quick, and they ordered some more. So a lot going on. I know staff's been doing a lot of events to get the word out of what we do in the community. And just hearing the feedback, Wendy, the executive director at Hinsdale, we had our animal van out there, but was just amazed at what the kids said, how we have pretty much a driving ambulance out there with all of that. In fact, the president, I think, of Hinsdale, the student president, wanted to become a doctor, so he was fascinated with all the medical equipment, et cetera, in our van. And Laura did a good job. She was out there answering the questions, and she had one of our animal dogs up for adoption that she was fostering, and she failed. Of course, she has it now, and that was Cooper. He was a big hit. Carrie really loved Cooper because she has a Cooper herself dog, and I got to enjoy that evening, Laura and Carrie showing their Coopers back and forth with each other with the great pictures. But again, it was a long day, and the communities really came together and helped get the word out. And I think those municipalities now are going to be encouraging more people to help not only with the food pantries, but also with the pet food. Thank you for the...
That's great. As a newly mom of a rescue, anybody who can do it, I highly recommend it. I have this little adorable toy poodle who I named Betty, who is absolutely, I can't even tell you. When I think about they found her on the street in Aurora, I'm like, it breaks my heart. You'd think we'd had her since the day she was born. I mean, she's just a sweetheart. So, and sometimes our jobs get stressful. So I highly recommend it. Since I don't have any grandchildren, I'm going with the dog.
One suggestion, Chair Conroy, for Betty, because save up your pennies, because next year we do auction off at a live auction, the front cover. It went for about $2,000, so that would be good for Betty to be on there at the live auction.
Man, it's not enough you get me for a table every year.
May 15th is the game.
Member Galassi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Brian, thank you for the shout outs about the Pet Supplies Plus. I just want to add, Pet Supplies Plus is a more locally owned pet store. They seem to be, I also called a few others that are more corporate. The corporate ones we're going to have a harder time donating, but if you guys have local pet stores in your communities. They were, I mean, it was just the easiest of asks, and they had a huge bin for me that they were planning to donate, but then they also had a whole another section of like day-old expired dog food and cat food and bird food that they were just going to throw away. And they're like, you know, this isn't going to make any dogs sick. So, you know, just take it to the food pantry. So I just want to, you know, encourage anyone, if you're doing a food drive, it was one of the easiest phone calls I've ever made asking for a donation. So just keep that in your mind. Thanks.
It's great. Make those connections. As a funny little story about Betty, I'll share with you. When I first got her, she was eating cat food. We assumed that she made friends with the cat. So I've gotten her off the cat food, so I have a case of cat food to donate to the shelter. Okay, let's move on to development and Member Tonatori. Okay, economic development and Member you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have a long monologue. Member Krajewski takes the prize for that one. But I just want to say happy holidays from the Economic Development Committee to everybody. And also I want to send warm holiday wishes to our hardworking staff of Choose DuPage, DCVB, and WorkNet DuPage. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, environmental and Member Heather.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As the year comes to a close, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work and exceptional commitment of our staff from the Environmental and Facilities departments, Joy, Jeff, Ian, Miles, and everyone who works so hard to keep fighting for all of us every day. I also want to highlight the work of SCARES and all the wonderful work they do in our communities, from environmental education to resource rescue and reuse. They do it all. Many of their environmental educators have a master's degree, which means that everyone that's going into those school buildings are giving exceptional education to the next leaders, future leaders of our environmental stewardship. And I invite all of you, the board members and even the staff members, to come and tour the facility with me. If you haven't done that already, it's a wonderful place where you can find all sorts of interesting musical instruments to microscopes and books and notebooks of all kinds. It's a really fun place. I usually get my jewelry from there. It's super cheap and super fun. And finally, I want to highlight that the state of Illinois has partnered with the nonprofit Paint Care to administer Illinois Paint Stewardship Program. And now DuPage County residents can drop off unwanted, unusable paint at any of the 29 locations throughout the county. And if the residents want to know what those locations are, they can go to dupagecounty.gov/recycling to find a location nearest to them. And I also want to appreciate the chair's initiative to bring your own mug for your coffee tomorrow morning at the employee breakfast. So I really appreciate that nice little touch as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, Human Services and Member Schwarzy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And following Member Header's lead, I'd like to recognize the Human Services staff, specifically our DuPage Care Center Director, Janelle Chadwick, and her great staff for the great work they've done. As we know, they are ranked in the top care centers in Illinois, so I'm very grateful to them. And I really need to give a special shout out to our Community Services Director, Mary Keating, and her staff. You know, the challenges that we've had in 2025 are you know, really just unbelievable, and having her in this role, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself, but I'm sure I am speaking on behalf of our chair and the rest of this board. The challenges you face, Mary, are just, you know, nobody should have to face those challenges, and the people that you're representing, there's no doubt that you saved lives this year. There's absolutely no doubt. You know, your passion, your caring, your dedication to your role and the residents of DuPage County, and we're very, very grateful to you. So hopefully 26 will be a better year for all of us. So thank you. I move on item HSR 1925, recommendation for approval of a commitment of Home Investment Partnerships Act funds and to enter into a home agreement with Taft and Exmoor LP, an Illinois limited partnership, in the amount of $1,750,000 for construction of a 42-unit affordable rental housing development for families and persons with disabilities.
Oh, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Schwarzy.
Aye.
Member Tonatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert, Member Desart, Member Eckhoff, Member Evans, Member Galassi, Member Garcia, Member Heather, Member Honig, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Martinez, and Member Ozog.
Okay, Member Schwartzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 5925, awarding resolution issued to Optimum Management Resources to provide technical assistance and consultation services to the DuPage County Homeless Continuum of Care for the period January 1, 26 through December 31, 26 for a contract total not to exceed $37,350.
Leave is granted. Member Schwartzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 6025, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Pulmonary Exchange Limited for rental of respiratory care equipment for the DuPage Care Center for the period of January 18, 26 through January 17, 27 for a total contract not to exceed $35,000.
Leave is granted. Member Schwartzy.
Thank you. I move on HSP 6125, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Music Speaks LLC for music therapy services for the residents at the DuPage Care Center for the period of January 12, 26 through January 11, 27 for a contract total not to exceed $62,275.72.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Schwartzy. Judicial and Public Safety and Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we close out 2025, I just want to thank everybody who's in the judicial and public safety community, especially our Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. I sleep better knowing that they are always on the job. And around this time of the year, there seems to be a lot of fires, and they're always out there and ready to serve the community. So thanks for everybody. And moving on, can I get a motion? Oh, I would like to move on JPS CO-10-25, amendment to purchase order 7363-1 serve issued to Strikers, Inc. to increase the contract encumbrance in the amount of $50,000 for a new contract total not to exceed $290,000.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Evans,
Yes.
Member Galassi, Member Garcia, Member Heather, Member Honig, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Martinez, Member Ozog, Member Schwartzy, Member Tornatori, Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Zay, Member Cahill, Member Childress, Member Covert, Member Desart, and Member Eckhoff.
Okay, Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on JPS CO-1-26, amendment to purchase order 7391-1 serve issued to Journal Technologies, Inc. for the case management system for additional funds for monthly storage in the amount of $6,289.
Leave is granted. Member Evans.
Thank you. I move on JPS P-63-25, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Ray O'Haran Company for the purchase of uniforms and accessories for all sworn employees and new hires for the Sheriff's Office for the period of December 30th, 2025 through December 29th, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed $458,000.
Leave is granted. Member Evans.
Thank you. And for the next three items, I move to combine items 16D, E, and F. They are all the same.
Okay. All in favor?
Purchasing. Okay, thank you. I move on JPS P-1-26, awarding resolution issued to Curry Motors Frankfurt, Inc. to provide 2 Ford Transit cargo vans for the Sheriff's Office for a contract total amount of $120,720. I move on JPS P-2-26, awarding resolution issued to Curry Motors Frankfurt, Inc. to provide 3 Ford Explorers for the Sheriff's Office for a contract total amount of $120,327. And finally, I move on JPS P-3-26, awarding resolution issued to Curry Motors Frankfurt, Inc. to provide 13 Ford Interceptors for the Sheriff's Office for a contract total amount of $598,559.
Member Krajewski.
Yeah, it's a question at Finance about any DuPage firms bidding on this, and I know this is part of a state contract. I did get back from the Sheriff's Office. They said they're being told no DuPage Ford dealers bid on the state contract, and I understand that's probably why they didn't want to bid, is it's for the whole state. But since we have a state contract, we know what the costs are. Can we do a separate bid to DuPage, or just a separate bid with DuPage Ford dealers to see if they're interested in doing that? And if that bid comes in less than the state price, go with the state price? Or so you go with the DuPage one? I know we've been told in the past that no DuPage dealerships bid on it. Well, it's because it's the state contract. They didn't bid on the state contract.
We can absolutely put a separate bid on the street. You cannot limit it to DuPage County firms, obviously, but you can. The question would be is, do you get better pricing by doing that?
But if we get the bid on the street and we comes back, can we still go back and use the state contract? We already know what the state contract is because it's a. Go ahead.
Actually, the cooperative that we use is Suburban Purchasing, so that's really DuPage County, Cook County, that we did put it out to this area. That is the only one that supplied us with the quote.
Because I assume the DuPage, maybe why they didn't want to bid on it, because then they would be servicing, if they get the contract, all of the area encompassed under this state bid.
That is correct.
Yeah, and that's why they may not have done it, but if we send out to DuPage specifically, we may get participation from our DuPage vendors. I don't know.
Not certain, but yes, we do put it out to everyone in the area.
Right, it's through the contract, and they didn't bid on it. But I would we did one directly versus a state contract where the whole Northern Illinois.
Yes, we could do that, and then we can compare the pricing.
Yeah, okay. I would suggest maybe try that for next year because that was a lot of vehicles, 18 vehicles, and $1 million. I would think some of the DuPage Ford dealers would be interested in bidding on that.
The one thing, what might be worthwhile is why don't we have procurement maybe reach out to some of our local dealers and see first before we put it out on the street. See first if they're even able to match if we were to put something out, to know what the possibility might be. So
speak to our president of the Choose DuPage over there, who I think probably knows the Haggerty Fords and the Packy Web Fords, et cetera.
Yeah. If they can match.
They could probably give a quick yes or no that we'd be interested. So maybe Greg, you're over there listening, so maybe you could reach out. You probably are. I know you're probably already typing and sending it out to the DuPage Ford dealers. So thank you.
So can I ask, so if we did that, I mean, obviously we want to, DuPage, obviously, but if we were to bifurcate that from the contract, would that affect the price?
So right now we're on cooperative purchasing, Suburban Co-op. We can continue to utilize that, but we can also utilize, if we do our own bid, if the prices are better. I mean, we can definitely explore that. Step one would be just to talk to the dealers to see, is this something that you can even match?
Because it doesn't hurt us if we talk to them if they want to participate, and if we send it out, if they come up with a lower rate that we already know what the state contract is.
Clearly, if we do a bid and we get better rates, and especially if it's a DuPage, we can't require that.
I understand that.
So much the better for our businesses.
So we
will explore
do it because then we just default to the state bid. But that's probably why the DuPage ones didn't bid. They don't want to do all of whatever you say, Northern Illinois, or they said the state. So thank you.
Okay. All right. Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Evans. Okay, we're going to move on to legislative and Member Desart.
Thank you. In Washington, the very latest significant federal action involved Congress passing a stopgap funding bill in mid-November to end that 42-day governmental shutdown, but we could be headed for more trouble because the funding shutdown, the funding of the government only lasts until January 30th. So they also reversed some of the shutdown impacts. My thanks to our lobbyist, Chip Humes, for this report. In Springfield, the 104th Illinois General Assembly is set to begin the 2026 spring session in January. The Illinois Senate will reconvene on Tuesday, January 13th through Thursday, January 15th. The House of Representatives will reconvene the following week from Tuesday, January 20th through Thursday, January 22nd. And these dates are important because we're still receiving legislative items that you'd like to have on our legislative agenda for our next meeting, which will be January 13th. We're going to be approving the 2026 state agenda, and then January 27th, we'll be approving the 2026 federal agenda. So if you have anything to put on our agenda, please get them to me or Evan or Cheryl or Kate as soon as possible. Also to remind you that the chair has set our legislative breakfast for Arrowhead on January 29th at 8:30 a.m. You need to RSVP by January 22nd. And I do want to welcome Kate Kazane. Kate is our new Government Affairs Coordinator. She and I will be working very closely together. I'm sure a lot of you will too. There she is. Hi, Kate. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'd also like to thank Cheryl Marquet for her mentorship of Kate, and that's why I mentioned that if you have any legislative items, to get them to Kate or Cheryl or Evan. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Public Works and Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And before we start, I'd like to extend my gratitude to the Public Works Committee. They've been outstanding in every way. It's been a joy to work on that committee. And I do want to say a special thanks to Nick and his team. It's just been great. I just enjoy it so much. I'd like to move on. PWP 3225, on the recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to HD Supply for maintenance, repair, operating, and cleaning supplies for the various public works facilities for a period of December 9, 2025 through June 30, 2027 for a total contract amount not to exceed $45,000.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. And Member Cahill.
Okay, Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move FMP 5425 on the recommendation for the approval of a contract to Helm Mechanical to furnish, deliver, and install domestic hot water storage tanks for the jail for facilities management for a period of December 10, 2025 through December 9, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $107,558.
Leave is granted. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on PWR 126, the renewal of a steep run water tower lease agreement with Verizon Wireless.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Member Desart.
Thank you. I just had a couple of questions about this. Maybe Nick can answer them. Nick, I see that this is for $4,972.49 a month, and it's for an additional five-year renewal. How much were they paying per month prior to this 5-year renewal?
So it's every year they go up 3%. So
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
every year they go up 3%. The escalation clause is 3% in this,
Okay.
and I will tell you this is probably one of the it's probably one of the more lucrative contracts we have on our towers.
Okay, that's good to know, because I was wondering what the percentage increase is per year, and just wondering if 5 years was a missed opportunity to get more money from, deep pockets from Verizon. But if you're saying it's a good deal,
We have about 12 contracts out there,
Okay.
and our team is pretty good. They look to see what other municipalities are getting, what we're getting. And it's weird. Every tower will earn different amounts of money depending where they're at. If it's in a kind of a desert of cell service, it's more lucrative. And this one happens to be one of our most lucrative.
Excellent. Thanks, Nick.
Okay. Oh, leave is granted. Thank you, Vice Chair Childress. Okay, Stormwater and Member Zay.
Good morning, Madam Chair. I move on SMP 26-25, approval of a contract used to Christopher B. Burke Engineering for professional engineering services for development of the Sawmill Creek Watershed Plan from December 9th, 2025 through June 30th, 2027, not to exceed $98,500. This is vetted through our qualification best selection process in compliance with the Local Government Professional Services Selection Act.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Zay.
I'm abstain.
Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. And Member Yu.
Aye.
Okay, Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMP 27-25, approval of contract issued to Hampton, Lanzini, and Renwick for professional engineering, GIS, floodplain mapping services, stormwater management from December 9th, 2025 through November 30th, 2026, not to exceed $75,000.
Okay. We need a roll call, please.
Member Zay.
Aye.
Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert, Member Desart, Member Eckhoff, Member Evans, Member Galassi, Member Garcia, Member Heather, Member Honig, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Martinez, Member Ozog, Member Schwarzy, Member Tornatori, and Member Yu.
Aye.
Okay, Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMP 28-25, approval of a contract issued to Gerwell and Hamilton Associates for professional engineering services and land surveying services for stormwater management from December 9, 2025 through November 30, 2026, not to exceed $65,000.
Leave is granted. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMR 14-25, approval of First Amendment and restatement of Parcel A access easement agreement between the County of DuPage and Elmer Chicago Stone and the successor in interest 83 East LLC.
Okay, leave is granted. Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on SMR 15-25 to approve First Amendment and restatement of West Lobe easement agreement between the County of DuPage and Elmer Chicago Stone and its successor in interest 83 East LLC.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member
Thank you,
Zay.
Madam Chair.
Strategic Planning and Member Heather.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just very briefly, we will have our fourth and final meeting today, right after the county board meeting. Our focus is on fiscal responsibility and thriving economy. I welcome everybody to participate and see how we are doing fiscally. Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, Transportation Member Ozog. Or Technology, I'm sorry. Oh, whoops. Member Covert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For committee update, I'd just like to recognize my technology team and staff for their phenomenal work this year, being the heroes for us, for our county in the midst of a cyber attack. They've done a great job. Anthony, Richard, Sarah, Tom, the whole IT department, thank you, and I wish you all a happy holiday break with your family. Thank you. With that, I move on TE-R-4-25, intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the Tri-State Fire Protection District to permit county staff to perform GIS services.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Covert,
Aye.
Member Desart, Member Eckhoff, Member Evans, Member Galassi, Member Garcia, Member Heather, Member Honig, Member Krajewski, Member LaPlante, Member Martinez, Member Ozog, Member Schwarzy, Member Tornatori, Member Yu,
Aye.
Member Zay, Member Cahill, and Member Childress.
Okay, Member Covert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on TE-P-26-25, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Environmental Systems Research Institute, Inc. for professional services for GIS support and training for the ESRI Enterprise Advantage Program for Information Technology GIS Division for the period of January 17, 2026 through January 16, 2027 for a contract total amount of $119,400, exempt from bidding, not suitable for competitive bids. Sole source, this product and service is only available from the provider ESRI, Inc.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Covert. Okay, Transportation and Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I want to wish everyone here and at the county a great holiday season, and in particular, I want to wish the Transportation Division a great holiday season, and our snow removal team in particular. I hope that this last few weeks is not an omen and that things really back off. So, but I can't believe it's just a wonderful department and truly runs like a well-oiled machine. So, getting on with our committee report, the rest of our business here. Move for approval of 252906, amendment to Resolution DTR 18812, intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the Village of Downers Grove to increase the funding in the amount of $26,208.25 for the county and $263,656.90 for the village.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Ozog.
Aye.
Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Aye. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. And Member Martinez.
Okay, Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move approval of DTR 3625, resolution authorizing an amendment to the intergovernmental agreement relating to the O'Hare Noise Compatibility Commission.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
I move for approval of DTR 3725, recommendation for approval of the annual financial commitment in support of the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning to consolidate planning of land use and transportation for the 7 counties of northeastern Illinois, $81,640.89.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Thanks. Next, I move to combine items 22D through H.
All in favor? Okay. Member Ozog.
All right, thank you. I move for approval of DTP 5325, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Clean Harbors Environmental Services to provide hazardous material testing, disposal, and emergency services as needed for the Division of Transportation, $30,000, and Stormwater Management, $10,000, for the period of January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026, for a contract total not to exceed $40,000 per lowest responsible bid. I move for approval of DTP 5425, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Imperial Lube and Supply to furnish and deliver auto lubricants as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period of January 29th, 2026 through January 28th, 2027, for a contract total not to exceed $50,000 per bid award 24101 DOT, first of 3 renewals. I move for approval of DTP 5525, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Hill Mechanical Corporation to furnish and install 2 new gas unit heaters for the Division of Transportation for the period December 10th, 2025 through November 30th, 2026, for a contract total not to exceed $55,089, contract pursuant to Intergovernmental Cooperation Act. I move for approval of DTP 5625, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Lakeside International LLC to furnish and deliver Navistar International OEM replacement parts as needed for the Division of Transportation for the period of January 29th, 2026 through January 28th, 2027, for a contract total not to exceed $75,000, first of 3 renewals. I move for approval of DTP 5725, recommendation for the approval of a contract with Monroe Truck Equipment Incorporated to furnish and deliver 3 new 2-ton asphalt patch carts for the Division of Transportation for the period December 10th, 2025 through November 30th, 2026 for a contract total not to exceed $97,785, contract pursuant to Intergovernmental Cooperation Act. And finally, I move for approval of DTP 5825, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Shorewood Home and Auto to furnish and deliver 4 new John Deere zero-turn mowers for the Division of Transportation for the period December 10th, 2025 through November 30th, 2026.
Member Ozog, wait, I think this one wasn't combined? You didn't combine that one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I meant to.
So,
oh, well. Forgive me.
Prior to that, leave is granted.
Leave is granted.
Member Ozog for the last.
Thank you. I now move for approval of DTP 5825, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Shorewood Home and Auto to furnish and deliver 4 new John Deere zero-turn mowers for the Division of Transportation for the period December 10th, 2025 through November 30th, 2025 for a contract total not to exceed $102,271.40, contract pursuant to the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act. Thank you, Madam State's Attorney, for stopping me when I was on a roll.
Member Zay has a question.
Yeah, isn't there a mower company in DuPage County we can get these from?
Isn't there a what?
A mower company in DuPage County we can get these from?
We chose to use Sourcewell as we are required. Thank you.
Okay, leave is granted. Thank you, Member Ozog. Appreciate you, Member Zay. Okay, so we're moving on to old business. Anybody in old business? Okay, Member Garcia.
Yeah, should have said it when I had my report, and I am remiss in thanking the finance staff, who are fantastic. You cannot say enough about our finance staff.
Thank you, sir.
Everything that goes through the county goes through our finance staff, and they work long hours, and they do work that's not required of them, and I just cannot say I'm thankful for you every day, that you answer my phone calls and explain it to me in a way that I can understand. And so big thanks out to Jeff and Jennifer and all the rest of the staff, and if I don't name everybody, I'm going to miss somebody, but I just cannot say enough about our fantastic finance staff. So thank you so much.
I could not agree more, and I just want to make the point that Our finance staff and our state's attorneys have had to work astronomical amounts of overtime, extra work. I don't know if I'd say overtime, but extra work in one area, and they don't always get the respect that they deserve. So please know how much we very much appreciate all of the work that you do. Okay, anybody else? You. Member Honak, sorry.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. Another thank you I think is really well deserved is Evan. The work that he's put in the last few months, being honestly short-staffed, deserves a round of applause.
Please stand up, Evan. Stand up and be recognized.
And obviously all of the staff, but just from the newsletters to the communications to just letting us know about member initiative program, just from all those things to now, we're very thankful for you and for all of our staff. You guys have just done a tremendous job, and I know it's a hard time with the budget and going through everything, but we manage, and we work really well together. Another thing I wanted to mention is there are a lot of holiday drives that are going on around the county, whether it's nonprofit organizations or just independent businesses or independent people doing it. Please donate if you can, whether it's like Member Galassi said, food for pets, clothing, warm clothing, new toys, certain things like books for kids. There's a lot of need out there, and there's a lot of really good organizations that are doing good work, sponsoring families in need. So I just want to bring that awareness there and to say happy holidays. So thank you.
Okay. Member Ozog.
Thank you. To follow up with Member Deacon Garcia's comments, I am pleased to see that the transfers were made from salaries to other necessities in the clerk's office. They used about $197,000 that was allocated for salaries, and we had discussed this at our previous meetings. So I appreciate the fact that that has happened. I really appreciate the Finance Committee and the hard work that they have been forced to do, because it's really important that we follow, especially when you listen to the news every day and there seem to be so many norms being broken, so many rules being ignored, et cetera. It's really important that we at the local government level follow standards, follow norms, and I am glad to see that this appears to be starting to happen. And I certainly commend all of our other departments who work with us, because fiscal responsibility is certainly something that it's a value I know that all of us share. And we're stewards of the taxpayers' money. We're all taxpayers, and that's what we were elected to who we are elected to represent. So thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, I'll just add to that. I'd like to thank my staff, the county board staff. This has been a year of many transitions, and many of you, Evan, Joan, Nick, have really stepped up to fill in some of the gaps that we've faced, and we haven't missed a beat. Heidi and Michelle, we wouldn't be able to function day to day, and we love Cheryl very much, and we're very grateful that she came back to mentor Kate, who we know is going to be a superstar. So, it's always important to note, and I don't think it's said enough, that no elected official is effective at their job unless they have the right staff. And I believe here in DuPage, we have the right staff. So thank you. Okay, anybody in new business? Member Galassi.
I have a very serious request that I wanted to mention, and I know Member Cahill, Member Zay, even Greg Bedeloff have a similar request. Do you have any connections to the college football playoff decision team so that you could right the wrong of Sunday? I would, really make our holiday season a lot better. I assumed you would have a connection there.
If only, and I do have my Notre Dame story, Cindy. I have a Notre Dame story in case none of you have ever heard. A couple of you have heard. So while none of my family members attended there, my great-grandfather worked there. And my great-grandfather was cleaning the dome, and he fell off, and he died. So that's my story. No. The true Irish did the cleaning. We didn't always get into the school because we couldn't afford it, but we made sure that dome was clean. Member Cahill. I know. Yeah, we're still searching. Okay, I'm sorry. Who was next? Member Dessart, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. How do we even follow that? I have no idea. Oh my gosh. All right, here's something that I'd like us all to consider as we move into 2026 and beyond. A living wage in DuPage County for a single person with no children is $57,535. My specific concern today is to bring to light the Human Resources monthly staff update from December 4th. We have hired a full-time nursing associate for an annual salary of $39,900, a full-time certified nursing associate at $36,700 annually. So, I look at these wages and I think no wonder it's been difficult for us to find and hire good people at our care center. A dining services worker was hired at $31,000 annually. And I just think, looking over those sheets, too many additional employees have also been hired recently who have received a salary well below that $57,000 cost of living. I believe that we're better than this. As elected officials, we are charged with being good stewards of our residents' tax dollars, and nothing can be more important than our dedicated employees, as the chair just said, who make the county run with the highest efficiency. What I'm asking is that the DuPage County Board and DuPage County pays our employees a living wage. I commend the sheriff, circuit clerk, state's attorney, treasurer, and recorder for giving raises to the county's number one asset, our employees. We should be setting the standard and using our positions to influence people toward positive change and paying people that living wage. As elected officials, we believe in and learn from our union brothers and sisters on how to empower employees by paying that living wage. So I'd like us, as we move forward, to prioritize our employees, show them how greatly we value them, and make it a goal in 2026 and beyond to guarantee DuPage County employees make a living wage. Thank you.
Anybody else in new business? Oh, okay. Hilarious. Okay, all right. I'm informed we do not have matters before us requiring us to enter into executive session. I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting. Okay, all in favor? This meeting is adjourned till Tuesday, January 23rd, 2026 at 10 a.m. Happy holidays.